Hey guys, today's gonna be a bit of a different video because it's mainly just I wanted to get some ranting off my chest. You don't have to watch this or comment. I just needed to say it, so I thought I'd share in case anybody did agree. And um, just warning, it's about Game of Thrones, so if you don't want to hear any more about it, just ignore. I won't take it personal. But one of my guilty pleasures is reading fan fiction, and today I read a fan fiction that remind me of things I'm annoyed about some. And so, mostly it's about how only Lyanna and Rhaegar get blamed for Robert's rebellion. Like, they were the sole responsibility of it, sole cause, and if you actually think about it, they're not. Even if, we'll just go with it, Rhaegar did kidnap Lyanna, and all that, it could have been diffused if one of the other events that happened afterwards did not happen. I mean, it's like dominoes, where it'll keep going, but if you take one, chances are that'll be the end of it. The rest won't fall. Or even if Rhaegar and Lyanna ran away, got married, and all that, like in the show, still could have been prevented the war. Mainly if either Lyanna's brother Brandon was not such a hothead and didn't go to King's Landing and do his, oh, come out, Rhaegar, I'm gonna kill you kind of thing, which caused Aerys to arrest him, the whole trial by combat fire thing that killed him and his father. That could have been prevented if Brandon didn't go there. And also, if Aerys did not call for Ned and Robert's heads, people forget that it was that actually started the full-on war. Because Jon Arryn called his banners to protect them. So, how did Lyanna and Rhaegar be the only responsible thing for the war? Plus, it was years in the coming, especially with the Baratheons, because they tried to rebel before, which caused Robert's grandmother to be a Targaryen to make peace for that. So, yeah, those two starting the war, while they are partly responsible, they are not the full responsible people for it. They're only part of it. Another thing that annoys me with the fanfiction is everybody with Jon and Sansa. Why would those two ever get together? I understand people hate Daenerys. I'm not going to say anything about that, but they get grossed out by the incest of Jon and Daenerys, but Jon and Sansa are fine, which those two were raised brother and sister. That would actually be a little worse, because at least Jon and Daenerys, while blood related, never grew up together. Daenerys never even really knew about him, and he barely knew anything about her, let alone that they were even related. So I don't see how that's worse than Jon and Sansa. Plus, as someone pointed out, another comment in a fanfiction, Sansa looks just like her mother, and Jon didn't like her mother in the sense of she made him feel unloved, unwelcome, like he had to leave just to get any kind of peace. So, why would he even fall in love with Sansa, who looks just like her mother? Every time he looks at her, he'd be reminded of her mother. So, I don't get why people think those two would ever get together. Now, if Sansa knew the truth of who he really was, and that he can get her a crown for the whole Seven Kingdoms, I'm sure she might have been a little more attracted to him. But, still. And one last thing about Game of Thrones is two things I realized about the show was Arya did actually keep her promise to Jon about not telling who he is. Now I understand why she didn't say that at the council. She made the promise in front of the Godswood not to tell anybody who he really was, and she kept that promise. So I'm not faulting her on that. but she could have protected him a little better. Especially since she could have killed Grey Worm like that, and he wouldn't have been able to stop her. Because let's face it, she killed the Night King. Why couldn't she be able to kill Grey Worm and half the Unsullied for all we know? And another thing that I realized this morning was Rhaegal's death. How weird that one actually was. Not just because Euron's ambush that made absolutely no sense. But when Viserion died, he actually had flames come out when he got pierced. Rhaegal had nothing. Just blood. So, I don't know what was going on with that. So it's like, was there a difference because of the spears? Or was they just forgot about how they killed Viserion and thought, we'll just make Rhaegal look like a normal death? Even though his death was purely unrealistic, because there's no way Daenerys wouldn't have seen the Iron Fleet that high up. It's just not possible, especially her being able to see over the mountains. She's high. She would have seen everything. I know she was a little more attention on Rhaegal, but he was flying pretty well at that time. She could have been watching out. Which is another reason why dragons do better with their riders, because the riders can see what they can't. But, anyway, thank you for listening. I just had to get all that off my chest. If you don't want to watch, like I said, I won't take it personal. But, I just had to say it. And if anybody agrees or disagrees, let me know, and then that'll be the end of it. Thank you again for listening, and I will see you guys next time.